When you're sick and lost and need a word of healing, let me show you the truth bomb. Now if you're willing, it's time to heal your body, mind, your soul, your spirit. Heal your spirit. All it takes is an open ear for those who would hear it. The healing of your sins, the washing of the word in Jesus' name. It will heal your pain, and you will find that you won't be the same. And if you need healing right now, it's time for healing word from Gilead. The balm from Gilead. From Gilead. The balm from Gilead. The balm from Gilead.
The word of God. Welcome to another live edition of the Now International Bible Radio Show, The Balm of Gilead. I am your host, Brother Julius.
And I'm your co-host, Brother Will.
There you go. And who we got tonight, Brother Will?
Man, sisters and brothers, we have a great treat for you tonight. Hope you have your pencils and your paper ready tonight, sisters and brothers, because tonight we're going to break down a lot of things. For this reason, I had to bring my good friend, Jared, to the Balm of Gilead, sisters and brothers.
Good evening. Good evening.
How you doing, my brother Jared? We got sisters and brothers. Get your pen, paper, and Bibles out tonight. We got a special 2-hour presentation because we're gonna need that tonight, sisters and brothers. Brother Jared from IOG Baltimore is in the house. How you doing?
It seems like Brother Jared has become a regular brother on the Balm of Gilead. We might have to keep his brother around for a while.
He's already family. He's family. You know,
hey, I'm just hoping to bring up where I can, man. That's all. Peace and blessings to everybody.
They're not guest teachers. They're brothers. We are brothers in the faith. Shout out to brother Kaleem Hill. How you doing, my brother? And
Brother Kaleem, it was a pleasure being on your show last Saturday, brother. I want you to keep up the good work and keep on putting the work in the vineyard, sharing it with all your friends, brother. Keep on doing it. We have so many people that's here tonight joining us, sisters and brothers. We got Sister Amina. Was that Sharita Amina? And I hope I pronounced that right.
Yeah. Coach from Fort Lauderdale. Coach and Coach. We call her Sister Coach from Bethel House of God, Fort Lauderdale. Pastor Johnson is in the house. Shout out and a blessed post tabernacle 8th day. 8th day
That's
to
right.
Everybody. And
Sister Gloria, thank you for joining us.
Special shout out to my family, IOG Buffalo. Thank you for your love and everything that you showed to me while I was out there. And Brother Will down there in Houston. Shout out to Brother
Will. Had a great time in Houston. Thank you guys for receiving me. So Julius.
Will, we got to get into this. I want to thank Team Balm. I want to thank Sister Debbie for the promotion, Sister Maja and Brother Dre and my daughter, Sister Genesis. Brother Harold, thank you for everything that you did for me, brother. Grace and peace in Jesus' name to you and your house. Listen, sisters and brothers, get your pencil, paper, and Bible. We're going to start this off at Isaiah 61, and then I'm going to turn the show over to you and Brother Jared because we got some history to deal with, sisters and brothers. We got a lot of history to deal with, and we want to get through this. Tonight's title is Mistaken Identity. Mistaken Identity.
So Julius, we want to clear up that title. So it's Mistaken Identity. There's supposed to be a question mark after that, sisters and brothers. So it's mistaken identity because we're going to show, has his identity been mistaken or was it taken on purpose? Has it been mistaken or was it taken on purpose? So it's mistaken identity with a question mark, sisters and brothers, because we're going to show that it was no accident that a particular people took another's identity, sister, but it was no accident. So it was not mistaken. That's a question mark. And we're going to let you guys decide by the time we get out here tonight, was it mistaken or was the identity taken on purpose, sisters and brothers? So mistaken. So go ahead, Brother Julius.
Man, Isaiah 61. Bend your phones to Isaiah 61. We're going to read verses 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to get on with this. How you doing, Sister Brenda? Man, Isaiah 61, 1, 2, and 3. The Spirit of the Lord God is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. Man, still got this COVID-19 out here, sisters and brothers.
That's
Protect
right.
yourselves. To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, as always, that he might be glorified. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, to the hearing, and to the doing of his holy word. In Jesus' name we pray and give thanks. And we thank the Lord in advance for every soul that's out here. And like, share, subscribe, and post, sisters and brothers. Brother Will, let's go.
Sisters and brothers, I thank you guys for allowing me to bring this lesson. I thank the Lord God of Israel. And I thank Senior Pastor Brother Bowie for having some great notes available for us to access to get even more information, sisters and brothers. And this lesson was put together, and you can always go back and reference Brother Bowie's lesson, Israel replaced by his brother Esau. That is a great piece to reference a lot of this information from, sisters and brothers. I praise the Lord for our elder brother. So, sisters and brothers, first of all, we want to start off in Genesis, the 9th chapter, because we want to do some identity tracing here, sisters and brothers. We want to do some identity tracing because a lot of times when I hear brothers talking about Israel, I hear brothers talking about Esau, I hear brothers talking about Jacob. A lot of people have no information or no background on where these three sons came from, sisters and brothers. And a lot of people confuse the Edomites, which is Esau, with being Gentiles. I hear a lot of my Israelite brothers say that all the time, that they were Gentiles. So we have to clarify some things. And then you have Sunday preachers who say Israel are Gentiles. I don't know how they get their point, but we're going to show some things today. And a lot of times you hear people say, if you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile. And we're going to show you that Judah is just one of the 12 tribes of Israel. So that's one of Jacob's 12 sons. So we have to clear those things up before we can get to how the identity of one of these sons of Ham were taken, of Shem. And we're going to run it all the way back from, not Ham, I'm sorry, Shem, sisters and brothers. We're going to run it all the way back to Shem, all the way back from Shem down to Abraham, from Abraham down to Isaac, Isaac down to Jacob. And we're going to run it all the way down according to the covenant, sisters and brothers. So let's go to Genesis 9 and verse 1. I'm moving too fast, Jews. I brought Ham into it. We're not even going to talk about Ham that much tonight, sisters and brothers, because that's the son of that's the father of the Egyptians and the Ethiopians. So we're not going to really talk about them because that's another lesson for another time. But we're going to identify them also, so we cannot confuse Israel with Ham, with those other nations. So let's go, Julius. Let's pick it up in verse 1, Genesis 9 and 1, Julius, because, sisters and brothers, after the flood, Noah had 3 sons, and if you are born after the flood, you have come out of one of these 3 sons, sisters and brothers. So let's go to Genesis 9 and 1, Julius. Go ahead.
And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth.
Because that's right, Julius, because before this, the Lord flooded the earth, and he called Noah and his sons to get on the ark, and he saved Noah and his household and his sons. So if you are born after the flood, system, but you come out of one of these sons, and we're going to let the Bible speak to who these sons are. Skip on down to verse 9, Julius, and what he tell Noah.
And I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you.
With his seed after him, right, Julius? So he established a covenant with Noah. So let's go on down to verse 18, Julius. Let's go down to verse 18.
And the sons of Noah that went forth of the ark were Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, and Ham is the father of Canaan.
So it already tells you who Ham is, right, Julius? He's the father of Canaan. So sisters and brothers, I want you guys to take your highlighter, and we're going to highlight Noah's sons that went forth out of the ark. We're going to highlight Shem, Ham, and Japheth, sisters and brothers, because these are going to be the three sons that we're going to be dealing with, but we're going to be dealing with one in particular, which is Shem, sisters and brothers. That's the one we really want to dig deep into, and we're going to show you some things when it comes to Shem. Julius, we finished verse 19?
I want to read verse 19. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole world overspread, was the whole earth overspread.
So out of these three sons, sisters and brothers, Shem, Ham, and Japheth was a whole earth repopulated, sisters and brothers, after the flood. So if you don't come out of one of these three sons, sisters and brothers, you do not exist. And I hear brothers saying all kind of stuff that they make up, and we're going to let the Bible speak on these things. Let's go right on to Genesis 10, Julius, for the second time. We can't read everything, but sisters and brothers, it's good to read these things on your own. Genesis 10, and let's pick up in verse 1, Julius. So we're gonna run these three sons down according to their lineage and their generations. Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah.
Yes.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were sons born after the flood.
After the flood. So Japheth, go ahead.
The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, and
Yes.
Madai, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus.
Mm-hmm.
And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, and Riphah, and Togarmah. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. By
Verse
these
5.
were the islands of the Gentiles divided in their lands, every one after his tongue, after their families, in their nations.
So this says by these sons of Japheth were the Gentiles divided in their lands, or the isles of the Gentiles divided in their lands, everyone after their tongue and the families and the nations. So we already know that these sons that were named here are the sons of Japheth, which were the Gentiles, which are the Europeans, or what we would call today the white nation, sisters, brothers, the white people. Not to be racist or anything like that. It just is what it is, and we're just gonna be plain tonight, plain and simple. Israel, God, we're not racist. We just break it down to the simplicity, system, so you can understand and you can associate it to what's going on right now.
Yes.
So we call them the white people, which are the Gentiles, which are the European sisters and brothers. But keep on going, Julius.
Verse 6, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan.
That's
and
right.
The sons of Cush, Sheba, and Havilah, Sapta, Raamah, Saptika, and the sons of Raamah, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod.
And so everybody knows about Nimrod, sisters and brothers. Everybody knows about Nimrod, so we understand that Nimrod came out of Cush, and Nimrod was a Hamite.
Right.
But keep on going, brother.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord.
So we really don't want to deal too much with Nimrod, sisters and brothers, but skip on down to 21, Julius, because we want to pick up another son. So we picked up Japheth, and we got the Gentiles out of Japheth. We got the Hamites, who would be the Ethiopians and Egyptians, Canaanites, and all of them out of Ham. Now let's pick up Shem and his descendants. Go ahead.
21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder.
So he was a brother of Japheth.
Born.
He was the brother of Japheth. Okay, so we want to stipulate those things. Go ahead.
The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram. And the children of Aram, Uz, and Hul, and Gether, and Mash. And Arphaxad begot Shelah, and Shelah begot Eber. And unto Eber were born two sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother's name was Joktan.
So we don't want to deal with all that because we be here all day, Julius. Let's skip on down to 31.
These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, after their nations.
So these are the sons of Shem, sisters and brothers, after their tongue, after their land, in their language, sisters and brothers, in their nation. Let's go to skip on to verse 32. Julius, read verse 32.
These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood.
So the nation was divided among these 3 sons in the earth after the flood, right, Julius?
Yes, sir. We read that.
Let's go to Genesis 11:1. Pick up 11:1. We're gonna do some skipping.
And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
So the whole earth was one language and one speech at that particular time. Let's go down to verse 22, Julius, because we want to pick up a one person that we in particular you want to show to people, sisters and brothers. One person we got to pick up out of this, and it's very important we pick this one male out of this. Let's go to the 21st chapter, Julius. 21st verse. I'm sorry, 21st verse, and read.
And Reu lived after he begot Sarah 207 years and begot sons and daughters.
That's right.
And Sarah lived 30 years and begot Nahor. And Sarah lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and begot sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years.
And so we want to see who Terah was the father of. That's what we want to see, Julius. Who was Terah the father of? Because that's very important for this whole lesson. Go ahead, brother.
And begot sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
He begot who?
Abram, Nahor.
So we want to highlight Abram, sisters and brothers, because we're going to show you this is the same Abram that the Lord changed his name to Abraham. So we want to show the people that, Brother Jared. Go ahead, because it's very important.
Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot.
And Haran begot Lot. Let's skip on down to verse 29, brother.
And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah.
So we want to also highlight Sarai, sister brothers, because that can be very important to highlight Sarai, because Sarai could not bear Abraham children at that particular time. So Abraham went into a handmaid, Hagar. And we want to show you that, sister brothers, because this is all is important when it comes to the covenant and when it comes between different sons of Abraham, sister brothers. We want to make a distinction, okay? Because we don't want to assume that Abraham's son Ishmael came through Sarai, okay? We want to read and we want the Bible to break it down so we understand why the covenant went the way and got passed down through the sons. It got passed down through, sisters and brothers. So, Julius, what verse we at?
We have finished that, brother. We
finished verse 20. Let's go right on over to Genesis 12, brother. Genesis 12, and let's pick it up and read verse 7.
And the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him.
Go ahead, brother.
And he removed from there unto a mountain on the east of Bethel and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord and called upon the name of the Lord.
That's right. Verse 9.
And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And
so so Abram journeyed, right?
Right.
So we want to bypass all this, sisters and brothers. We want to go right over to Genesis, the 16th chapter. We want to get right into it, sisters and brothers, for the sake of time. Genesis 16, and we want to pick it up at verse 1. So he journeyed, he took his wife with him, sisters and brothers. His wife Sarai. Let's go Genesis 16 and 1. For the second time, we're just going to do some journeying, but I want you guys to go back and revisit those at a later date and get some full knowledge that. Genesis 16 and 1, Julius.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, behold now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah.
So Abram hearkened to the voice of who?
Sarai.
He hearkened to the voice of his wife, and he did what she told him to do, right? So he went into her handmaid, and he brought forth a child. She brought forth a child. Go read verse 3, brother.
And Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband, Abram, to be his wife.
So now, sisters and brothers, Hagar buried the child, and Sarai got jealous over the Hagar buried the child, and she started treating Hagar different, spiteful towards her. And the Lord told Abram to get her and the child out. And we're going to pick it on up, Brother Julius, at verse 10. Let's pick it up at verse 10 because Sarai wanted a child of her own. Go ahead. Let's pick it up at verse 10 because we can't, for the sake of time, we got to move. We just want to show Ishmael.
Her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude.
So Sarai prayed to the Lord, and the Lord answered her in prayer and told her that he's going to multiply her seed, right?
Right.
Go ahead. Keep going, brother.
And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael.
That's
because
right.
The Lord has heard thy affliction.
That's right, because she was being afflicted. Go ahead.
And he will be a wild man. His hand
He'll be a what? So we want to point out that Ishmael was going to be a wild man. This is the same Ishmael that came by the way of Hagar. Was going to be a what, Julius?
And he will be a wild man.
And so this is an identifying factor. When you look in the world right now, sisters and brothers, Ishmael is still the one that's in every fight, every battle. This Ishmael is the same one that's fighting Edom over our land, sisters and brothers. Still to this day, they fight over our land. Go ahead, Julius.
Verse 12. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
He should dwell in the presence of what?
In the presence of all his brethren.
So he's gonna be among all his brothers, right?
Yeah.
That's why we come on to Chicago. You go in the grocery store. Where's Ishmael at? Where the Arabs at?
Behind the counter.
Are they afraid of us in any way?
Nope.
Listen to the way they talk to us. When you go into the store, you buy groceries from them. Do they seem like they got fear? You fear them? Not at all. Sisters and brothers, they dwell among every nation Ishmael dwells among. Wherever you find them, they're among Edom. They definitely in our community, sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
And the Lord kept that promise because Abraham wanted Ishmael to receive the blessing. And we're going to show you that the Lord did bless Ishmael, though, but he did not give Ishmael the covenant, sisters and brothers. The covenant was made with Isaac and not Ishmael. Then we keep reading a little bit, Julius.
Verse 13. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, thou God seest me. For she said, have I also here looked after him that seeth me?
That's right. So let's go right on over to Genesis, the 17th chapter. We kind of moving things so we don't be here all day. And pick up in verse 1, Julius, 17 and 1.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. Go ahead. So he said. So first of all, you told me walk before me, be thou perfect, right? Right.
That's something we got to put in our mind too, sisters and brothers. We can talk about the covenant all we want to, but this covenant was made by Abraham because Abraham walked before the Lord was perfect. And he was a just man, the book say. Go ahead.
And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations.
So his covenant was with Abraham, right?
Right.
Keep going, but we're going to see who he passed his covenant down to. Go ahead, Julius.
Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham.
So I want to read that because we want to make sure we were talking about the same one that is now called Abraham. It was Abram to begin with, but he changed his name because Abraham, he was a father of many nations, sister. So he changed his name to Abraham. Go ahead, Julius.
For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make thee make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after
that seed. That seed is singular. And we know that seed is Jesus.
Yeah.
Sisters and brothers, we know that. Go ahead.
And thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
Until I seed after thee. So let's skip on down to verse 10, Julius.
This is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. every man child among you shall be circumcised.
That's right. Every male child should be circumcised, right?
Right.
So that's that covenant. Go ahead.
And you shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed.
Yes. So any strangers or any other nation, not I see, he still got to, if he's bought them, he purchased them, and they servants in his household, they got to be circumcised too, right? So anybody in that household that come in that he bought and laborers or whatever have to be circumcised. Go ahead.
He that is born in thy house and he that is bought with thy money must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant.
That's right.
And the uncircumcised man child whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
Verse 15, let's read verse 15.
And God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai, thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be.
That's right. Keep
and
going.
I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yeah.
Now he said, I'm gonna give you a what?
I'm gonna give you a son.
A son from her, right?
Right.
That's right. Keep going. So the Lord already promised me before Isaac even came forth, he told him, I'm gonna give you a son from her. Go ahead.
And she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her.
Go ahead. And then what Abraham wasn't believing on that, wasn't he?
Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 90 years old, bear?
Go ahead.
And
who did Abraham want to pass the covenant to? Let's see.
And Abraham said to God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee.
And what did the Lord say? The Lord said he had something else in store, right? He said he had a different plan. Go ahead.
And God said, Sarah, thy wife, shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
So he said that covenant was going to be passed down to Isaac, not Ishmael, right?
Right.
So keep going, because we got it, sisters and brothers. We have to follow the covenant. That's very important, to follow the covenant that the Lord made with Abraham. And that is a very, we have to, because that's an identifying factor, sisters and brothers. Go ahead.
Verse 20, and as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation.
And Ishmael did have 12 princes, sisters and brothers, and he did bless them exceedingly, sisters and brothers. And they still blessed to this day, because they still have oil and land and riches, sisters and brothers. They still have those things. So we can show this. But the reason Israel is not blessed, we're going to show you, sisters and brothers, because we broke the Lord's covenant and his commandment, which the Lord established with Israel, sisters and brothers.
Yes.
And we're going to show you that. Therefore, the curse will point out upon us. He said, Israel have I only known out of all the families in the earth. Therefore, I shall punish you for all your iniquities, sisters and brothers, because he only knew Israel, because of the covenant, sisters and brothers, he made all the way back with Abraham. Therefore, we are in the condition that we are in right now, because we broke those covenants. The Lord said we broke his covenant. Julius, what verse we at?
We at verse 21.
Go ahead to 23.
But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear to thee at this set time in the next year. And
that's right.
And he left off talking with him, and God went up from Abraham.
So he left off talking with him. That's good, Julius. And God went up from Abraham. Let's go over to Genesis, the 25th chapter. Let's pick up in verse 19.
All right.
Genesis, we got to speed forward, because, sisters and brothers, we have to get to where we're going.
Pastor Johnson is simulcasting this lesson, sisters and brothers, and you can go to his chat and look at the nation that he's put in there. He's saying that Ishmael is Palestine, occupying the West Bank and Gaza Strip, whom the converted Jewish people are fighting today.
So we're going to get, sisters and brothers, we want you to put your seatbelts on, because we're going to get into all of that. We just got to get there first. We're going to break down. Brother Jerry going to bring some history in. Brother Julius going to bring some history in. First of all, we just trying to identify the sons, so then we can bring in what land they occupy, sisters and brothers. And that's very important. We do it this way so we don't speedball, and we want to see how they wind up in those lands. Yes. So right. Let's go to that's right. We want to pinpoint who they are first before we and we thank you, brother Pastor Johnson, for helping us out too. We really appreciate you. So let's go to Genesis 19 and let's pick up Isaac, sisters and brothers, who the covenant was established with. Let's pick up Isaac and let's see what sons came out of Isaac. So that's
25 or 19.
Well, we're going to 25 and verse 19.
Okay.
We're going to skip all the way to Genesis 25 and verse 19.
Got you.
And we're going to start off there because we don't want to read everything because we'd be here 4 hours instead of 2. We want to get to Esau because we know it's not about, this lesson is not about identity. This lesson is about how the identity of one of the sons got taken. Right? And we're going to see if it was taken or did someone sell it. See, that's what we want to get to. Did someone sell their birthright? Or was that birthright taken? Because, somebody's saying the birthright was taken, but the book says something totally different, doesn't it, Jared?
Yes, indeed.
Right? So we want to break that down. So we have to follow the birthright and we have to follow the covenant. So let's go Genesis 25 and verse 19, sisters and brothers.
And
let's break. Go ahead, brother.
These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian.
The sister to Laban, right?
Yeah.
Laban. And we're going to show that's very important too, because you're going to go back to Laban. And so at one point, we're going to show you that. Go ahead.
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
So he said 2 different nations are in your womb, and 2 different manner of people shall be separated out of your bowels, sisters and brothers. So go ahead.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger.
And that's very important, sisters. But we want to highlight that the elder shall serve the younger. So it was already called by the Lord, right? By the angel, right?
Yes.
So it was already called. So go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment.
So so we got to stop right there, because that's another identifying factor, Julius. Because I have not seen too many Israelites that look like me and you come out red and hairy all over. I have never seen too many Israelites like that, sisters and brothers. And you can look around the globe and you don't see too many people that are Israelites that look red and hairy. So that's an identifying factor. So if somebody's calling themselves the Jews and they look red and hairy, then we should be able to pinpoint them and say, hey, the Lord said this oldest son that came out the womb first was to be red and hairy, right?
Red all over.
Red all over, right?
Like a hairy.
That's identifying factor. Go ahead, Julius.
And after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them.
And the book says Jacob was a plain man, right?
Yeah.
And Esau was red and hairy. So we got 2 different nations. We got 2 different manner of men. Here, go ahead, Julius. Keep on reading.
And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter and a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents.
And he dwelled in tents, right? Keep on going.
And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So
they had a distinction right there. The mother loved Jacob and the father loved Esau, right?
Yep.
I tell parents all the time, don't make a separation between your children, because they're going to grow up to hate each other. And then they're going to grow up to despise each other. And you play on one side and one's playing the other side, right?
Yep.
So, hey, we got to treat our kids equally. Go ahead, though.
29. And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
He was faint, right? Go ahead.
And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Because
of what? Because of his red pottage, right?
Because he was red.
That's right, because he's red all over. So go ahead, Judy.
And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright.
So to me, it looks like if you really cared about your birthright, no matter what condition you hungry, starving, you're not going to give it up, are you?
Nope.
I'm not going to give my birthright up for no food. So he said, hey, sell me your birthright. And what did Esau say about concerning that birthright? Go ahead. Keep going,
Esau said, behold, I'm at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
Hey, he said, what good is this birthright if I'm dead? If I'm dead, what I care about it for if I'm dead? What'd he say? Go ahead.
And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he swore to him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
Yes, verse 34.
Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Esau despised his birthright. Let's go right over to Genesis, the 27th chapter, Julius. And let's see how this played out. Let's go to Genesis 27th chapter. Let's see how the blessing played out.
So what I saw right there, I didn't see anything where anything was stolen right there. I saw a fair transaction. A deal was made.
A very fair transaction. Didn't you, brother? Do you see where anybody stole anything?
Sister and brother, we're reading the book. We're reading the book. So far, we have not read not one place where Jacob stole Esau's birthright.
That's right. He sold it to him. So now we have to make this come to fruition. Let's go to Genesis 27 chapter, pick up verse 1, Jesus, and see how this played out.
And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see.
He couldn't see, right?
He called Esau his oldest son.
That's right. Go ahead.
And said unto him, my son. And he said unto him, behold, here am I. And he said, behold, now I'm old, and I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison, and make me savory meat, such as I love, and
so
bring me that
he loved that meat that Esau made, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
That I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau, thy brother, saying, bring me venison and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death.
That's right.
Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock and fetch from me from there 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loved.
So she about to hook it up, right? She about to hook it up for him, and then she gonna dress him up so he will look and smell just like Esau, right?
Yep.
That's right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 10, and thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man.
So there we go again. So even by his father feeling him, he knew the difference between Esau and Jacob.
Yes.
So when you see Esau and Jacob right now, sister, brother, even by touching them, you know the difference because they're hairy all over. So that's the distinction that the Lord put in play right there, just for identifying factor.
Yes.
So even if he was blind, brother, even if he was blind like his father was, you still should be able to tell your sons, right? Because I have sons, and just by my son's voices, by the way I touch them, at nighttime when I'm in bed with the lights off, I can know the difference between my 2 sons. Go ahead.
Verse 12. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing.
That's right.
And his mother said unto him, upon me be thy curse, my son. only obey my voice and go fetch me them. And he went and fetched and brought them to his mother, and his mother made savory meat, such as his father loved. And Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob, her younger son.
So she took even his clothes, Esau's clothes, and put them on Jacob, and dressed Esau just like Jacob, so he smelled like he's a hunter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou? Right. My son? Mm-hmm. And
That's
Jacob
right.
said unto his father.
So hey, so he knew the difference of the voices.
Yeah.
He said, wait, who are you, my son? You look like Esau. You dress like Esau. You smell like Esau. But what he had to do to verify that was Esau? Let's go see what he had to do to verify it, Julius.
And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou hast badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son?
That's right.
And he said, because the Lord thy God brought it to me.
That's right. Keep going, bro. We got to keep reading.
That's a statement there.
That's a cold statement, brother.
Man. And Isaac said unto Jacob, hey, he said the Lord brought it to him, didn't he?
That's right.
And Isaac said unto Jacob, Esau's still out there hunting, right? And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. Wow, suspicion right there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is a good novel here.
Boy, and that's why we're gonna read the majority of it, so we can get some understanding of how the birthright had a transaction with sisters and brothers. It wasn't stolen. He sold his birthright, and it went by the hand of the Lord, sisters and brothers.
Yeah.
It went by the hand of the Lord. Go ahead.
22. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau.
That's right. So the voice is Jacob's voice. So he felt him, sister, brother. And after he felt him, he felt that the hair. Let's go down to verse 24. We're gonna do some skipping so we get out of verse 24. And what he say?
And he said, art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am.
I am. Go verse 25, brother.
And he said, bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat. And he brought him wine, and he drank.
And he kissed him, Julius. Let's skip on down to verse 27. He kissed him, and what did he do? He was just trying to feel him. Go ahead.
And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment and blessed him, and said, see, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed.
That's right, which the Lord has blessed. Go ahead. Let's see this blessing. Go ahead.
Therefore, God give thee of the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine.
So he gave him the blessings, right?
Yep.
Yep, go ahead.
Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blessed thee. Sound like something the Lord said, didn't it?
This sound like Deuteronomy 28 chapter. In the first part is Deuteronomy 28 chapter, when the Lord said, it should come to pass if you hearken diligently to my voice and keep my commandments. Blessed shall you be, right? When you come in the city and go out the city, blessed shall you be in the field, right? This seems like this is what taking place, but we don't see what Israel chose. Go ahead, sisters and brothers, keep reading. Verse 30, Julius.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau, his brother, came in from his hunting.
And what happened?
And he also had made a savory meat and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me.
And let's see if Jacob could go back once he found out that wasn't really Esau. Let's see if he can go back and take that blessing back, Julius. Let's see if Jacob could do that. I mean, let's see if Isaac could do that.
Isaac, his father, said unto him, who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau.
Wow.
And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, who? Where is he that has taken venison and brought it to me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yeah, and he shall be blessed. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he
said, wait, Junior. So he said, hey, I blessed him already. And indeed, he shall be blessed. I can't take the words back. And Esau cried, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and has taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he has supplanted me these 2 times. What?
These 2 times, right? What? Oh, he took away my birthright. Now I remember Esau sold his birthright, but now he said he took away my birthright. Go ahead.
And behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now to thee, my son?
Go ahead, brother.
And Esau said unto his father, have thou but one blessing, my father. Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
And Isaac, what did Isaac tell him?
And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live. And
by that sword, say what? Shall thou what?
By your sword shall
thou live. And go ahead.
Shall serve thy brother.
Yes.
And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Keep going, brother.
Esau hated Jacob.
So this is where the hatred for Jacob started, sisters and brothers. Right here. Esau hated his brother Jacob. Go ahead.
Well, when his father blessed him, and Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand.
And then shall I what?
Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
And this is where the hand of Esau has been at his brother's back ever since, sisters and brothers. He said, hey, as soon as my father died, I'm going to kill my brother Jacob. Go ahead.
And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah, and she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, do comfort himself, proposing to kill thee. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice and arise, flee thou to Laban, my brother, to Haran.
And I just told you that we was going to return back to Laban, wasn't we? So he said, flee. So we go down to Laban. Go ahead. His brother. And
tarry with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn away.
That's right. In a few days, sisters and brothers, turn to over 20 years. 20 years in a few days. Turn, sisters and brothers. Keep going, Julius.
Until thy brother's anger turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and fetch thee from there. Why should I be deprived also of you both in one day?
That's right. So, sisters and brothers, so Jacob had 12 sons, sisters and brothers. And when you read the story of Jacob and his 12 sons, Jacob had a son named Joseph, and his brothers sold Joseph into slavery, and Joseph wound up down in Egypt, sisters and brothers. And we're going to fast forward to that. We're going to fast forward to when Joseph went down into Egypt. We're going to move it along, sisters and brothers, because we want to pick up Moses in Egypt. We want to pick up Moses in Egypt. We want to fast forward the story because we can't deal it all tonight. So let's go over to Exodus, the 1st chapter, pick up at verse 1.
And we even know that the whole reason Joseph even went to Egypt is because the Lord had already told Abraham that his seed will be in a nation that is not theirs, and they shall be afflicted 400 years. So it's exactly we understood how Esau would, or the elder would serve the younger. We have the same understanding about what the seed will end up being in Egypt later on. So it's all foretold by the Lord. It's
all foretold by the Lord. That's correct, brother. We just sort of fast forward in the story so we can get on to Esau, and that's what we're trying to fast forward. So sisters and brothers, we can do a little bit more. We can probably do a part 2 at a later date, or we can do some fast forwarding today so we can get you out here within the 2 hours. So let's pick it up, Julius, and he gonna name the sons. Let's pick it up in Exodus 1 and 1, Julius. Exodus 1 and 1.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan,
that's right,
and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
And we just said how Joseph got down to Egypt. Go ahead.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
That's right. The land was filled with them. Go ahead. Keep going. So they multiplied and they grew exceedingly, sisters and brothers. And the land was filled with them. Go ahead. Keep going.
Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when there falls out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So he said, get them up out of the land, right, Julius?
Yep.
Go ahead, keep going.
Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
So, Brother Jerry, this is, you can back this up all the way through history.
Yes, indeed.
So these children of Israel were down in Egypt as slaves.
Yep.
So this is another identifying factor, brother.
They went down in Egypt, Brother Will, and then there they became slaves.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. So they were slaves in Egypt.
And if you ever go to Egypt, especially the Cairo Museum, you'll find that all the artifacts are incredibly dark complected. There's some of the ancient museums in Memphis and Saqqara, Egypt, where they still have dark complexion on the inside of the pyramids. And those ancient step pyramids. So if you ever get a chance, take a look at some of these artifacts on the internet, and not just the American version. Look at the original, and you'll see that these were definitely people of color that look like us.
That's right. Keep going, Julius.
Man. Verse 15, and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the names of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them up on the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live.
So keep go right on into keep going.
But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have you done this thing and have saved the men children alive? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them.
So hey, they was trying to disobey, right? The midwives were
quicker. We can.
We was having babies so quick they couldn't kill them fast enough.
Yeah.
Go ahead. But we want to bring one person out of this, Julie. Let's go right on into the second chapter and pick it up in verse 1.
And there went a man of the house of Levi and took the wife, a daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months.
That's
and
right.
She could no longer hide him. She took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. And her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
So she already knew that he's one of Hebrews' children, right?
Yeah.
So the Lord said Moses right on in to the Egyptian, right into Pharaoh's house.
Right.
Right on in, sisters and brothers. See how the Lord worked, Julius. Go ahead, Julius. So that's right. Let's pick up at verse 9. Skip it on down to verse 9, brother.
And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go," and the maid went and called the child's mother.
So the maid went and called the child's mother, right? And the child's mother nursed Moses till he got of age. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages." And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son, and she called his name Moses, and she said, "Because I drew him out of the water."
So fast forward, sisters, brother, we know the Lord used Moses to spring Israel out of Egypt, sisters and brothers. He dropped plagues on Egypt by hands of Moses and Aaron, and Israel was brought out of Egypt. We got to spring forward because we be here all night. Julius, let's go to Exodus, the 12th chapter, and let's bring Israel out, and we're gonna move on, sisters and brothers. Let's go Exodus, the 12th chapter, pick up at verse 40, Julius. Exodus 12 and 40, because we can't read all this tonight, brother Jerry. We'd be here.
Right.
We'd be here 4 hours, brother.
And just to note, you had these men go down into Egypt, which we can establish and substantiate was a dark-skinned people.
That's
and
right.
There was some intermarrying because they got some of their wives from the Egyptians.
That's
So
right.
there was some commingling between the Israelites and the Egyptians at this time.
That's
so
right.
If we have an idea of what they look like before, then the multitude that leaves out, we should have an idea of what they look like at that time.
There's a mixed multitude leave that left out, brother Jerry, and we're gonna show you that also. There's a mixed multitude. Go ahead, Julius. Exodus 12 and 40. We want to get into the good stuff. We can't. We're doing a little identifying, and we want to show that the Lord used Moses to bring Israel out. Then the Lord gave Moses. He brought Israel out into the wilderness. He gave Moses his law, statutes, and commandments. So we want to bring in the curses to identify who these people are. Go ahead, Julius. Exodus 12 and 40.
Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
How many years did they sojourn?
430 years.
430 years. Go ahead.
And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self-same day it came to pass that all the host of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt.
That's right. Go ahead, Julius. So
it is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations.
In their generations, right? Go ahead, keep going.
And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, "This is the ordinance of the Passover."
So he brought them out on the Passover, right, Julius?
Right.
Go ahead. So we're gonna skip on down to verse 51 because we can't read all that. We're gonna go right to 51 when he brought them out.
And it came to pass the selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies.
By their armies, right? So he brought them into the wilderness and he gave his law, statutes, and commandments. He made an oath with Moses. Did he not, Julius?
Yes, sir.
So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 chapter. We're going to fast forward Deuteronomy 28 chapter because when he gave us his laws and statutes and commandments, the Lord told us we keep his laws and we hearken to his laws, statutes, and commandments. A certain condition was going to be on us, but we did not hearken to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Another certain condition was going to befall us. And let's see what happened, Julius. Let's see what happened. So the Lord used Moses to spring Israel out of Egypt. He brought us into the wilderness. He gave us his law, statutes, and commandments. And let's see what Israel did. Let's see if Israel obeyed. And let's see if this can identify us even a little bit more, Julius.
Yes.
These are all identifying factors because those who call themselves the Jews have to fit all these things that we just ran down.
All of them.
They had to go into Egypt, had to become slaves, had to be brought out of Egypt by the hand of Moses and the Lord. Then the Lord had to have given Moses the 10 commandments, and these same people had to have broken the commandments, and the Lord had to put a curse on them. See, these are all identifying factors, Julius.
Yes.
And when you go through history, Edom can't lay claim to none of these things. They can't. History does not back up that they can lay claim to any of these things, Julius. Because you ask the average one that call themselves Jews, when did you go through slavery? They always going to come back and tell you the Holocaust. That's what every time I ask them. Well, we went through the Holocaust, and that's Deuteronomy 28 chapters talking about some of the Holocaust, and we wind up down in Germany, and so let's let the Bible speak, Julius.
Yep.
Deuteronomy 28 chapter.
Last time I checked, the Holocaust occurred in Germany, which is one country within Europe.
In Germany, yes.
Curses, especially by the time you get to verse 25, speaks about all the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
Just trying to get my location right. That's all.
And that's why we want to we're going to let the Bible verify these things, because, like I tell them, Julius, they can't fit some of these. They have to fit all of these.
Yes. You
can't pick the curses you want to fit. You have to fit all of these. All these identifying factors, Julius. And it has to befall you and your children for perpetually, Julius, throughout all generations. This has to affect your seed. And so, last time I checked, those who call themselves Jews, they're flourishing, Julius. They got money. They got land. They're in our land, last time I checked. And the book is going to speak contrary to that right here in Deuteronomy 28 chapter. Let's read, Julius. Go ahead. Deuteronomy 28 chapter, pick up verse 1.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So these blessings shall come upon thee and overtake thee. You know what overtake thee means, Julius? That you can't stop these blessings. You got no control over these blessings, Brother Jared. They coming on you. You like, I don't know where these blessings are coming from.
Right.
Go ahead.
3, blessed shall thou be in the city, and blessed shall thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall thou be thy basket and thy store. Blessed
last time I checked, Julius, Israel are one of some of the main recipients of public assistance. Our baskets are not that blessed in the store last time I checked.
Well, we reading the book, and the book is the boss. So we're gonna let the book speak, and
that's right.
Let the people see for themselves. Because these blessings had to come, they could not be taken back, just like Jacob could not, Isaac
could not take back that blessing from Jacob. That's right.
We got to get this, Will. Let's go. Blessed shall thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shall thou be when thou goest out.
Let's skip on down to verse 11. We can't read all that.
And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware to thy fathers to give thee.
A land that he swore to give thee, right? And we should still be in that land, right? If we keep the commandments. Go ahead.
Gotta fit it. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in, verse 12. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the works of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
Thou shalt not borrow. Keep going, Julius.
And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail.
That's right.
And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If thou hearken to the commandment of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them.
Now we do know when the Lord gave Moses commandments, Moses took the commandments he presented to the people, and they said, all the Lord has spoken, we should surely do, right?
We will do.
We will do. And they went straight away and they broke the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, sisters and brothers. And the Lord said this right here, verse 15. Hey, if you break these laws, statutes, and commandments, what's going to happen, Julius?
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Overtake thee mean you can't control, you can't stop them.
Nope.
Go ahead, Julius.
Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shall thou be when thou goest out.
That's right. Julius, skip on. What verse you at?
That was the very end of verse 19.
Let's skip on down to verse 25, brother.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Do you know what remove means, sisters and brothers? Remove does not mean migrate. Okay? Remove does not mean you get on an airplane and you travel. Remove means you are taken against your will. You are plucked off from one part of the earth and you are removed and you are scattered against your will, sisters and brothers. You have been taken from your home, and you have, if someone remove you out of your house, if they say the police gonna come, they're gonna remove you out of your house, that don't mean that you're gonna walk out freely.
Right.
That means that they're gonna come and they're gonna take you by force, sisters and brothers. Let's go to verse 32, Julius.
Man. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
Verse 36, brother.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
We should serve other gods, what?
Wood and stone.
And sisters and brothers, we are in a nation where we weren't born here, sisters and brothers. None of our fathers knew about the God of Christmas, the God of Easter, the God that say you're going to heaven. None of our fathers knew about that, sisters and brothers.
The God of Mardi Gras.
The God of Mardi Gras. Our fathers didn't know about none of these things, sisters and brothers. Keep going, Julius.
37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword.
Well, those proverbs are all those names we got: the Negro, the N-word, African American, Afro American. We got proverbs, we got bywords, we got astonishment. People say, how do those people live in the condition that they live? How do those people live in those neighborhoods? Julius, when I drive through certain neighborhoods where Israel is at, I say, how do those people live like that? That's astonishing.
I work with other nations, and I listen to them murmur among themselves, and they look at the news, and they said, I could never live over there.
I could never. That's right, Julius. Let's skip on down to 41.
Wow. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
And sisters and brothers, our sons and daughters are beyond that captivity now. They're not in slavery, but we still can't enjoy our sons and daughters because they are in prison. They are stored up and locked up in prison houses. They're still in captivity, sisters and brothers. Look at the majority of the people that's locked up in the prison system, in the penal system, look like me and you.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Edom not piled on top of each other. They don't have iron above them and brass beneath them. They're not stored in the prison system. They ain't in captivity.
And if they are, they're in the federal prison.
Oh, yeah. Probably doing some money laundering or something. Yeah, because they got money to launder. Israel don't even got money to launder, sisters and brothers. Right. Verse 41.
Man, we just read 41.
Oh, let's jump down to 46, brother.
Man, 46. And they shall be upon, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever.
For how long?
I need to back up, Will. I need to back up. Look at this. Look at this 43 to 44.
Go ahead and read it, brother.
Stranger, we can't miss that.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to read that. I'm sorry, brother. I skipped that on accident. Go ahead.
I got you, bro. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee, very high.
Yes.
And thou shalt come down very low.
Very low. Yep.
He shall lend. He just said a stranger. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
And the stranger is any nation that's not Israel.
Right.
So when you look at Julius, the Hispanics cut my grass, Julius, and they got every lawnmower there is. And they like Brother Bowie said, they come in 2 or 3, and they get contracts, Julius.
Yeah.
When you look on my block, Julius, they cut about 20 houses on my block.
Wow.
And I asked the guy, I say, was you born here? He said, oh, no. I come here. I come here for a better life.
Wow.
And Julius, we were brought here against our will.
Yeah.
And they among us, and they still higher than us, Julius.
And jealous of them.
And jealous of them, Julius. And I'm not talking against anybody, Sister Mother. These are just facts. These are facts, Sister Mother. Go ahead, Julius.
I'm at 46, Will. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things.
Because we don't want to serve the Lord, that God, Sister Brothers, in the capacity He wants us to, with gladness and with a full heart, Sister Brothers. We want to serve God the way we want to serve God. Therefore, we broke His law, statutes, and commandments, and therefore this curse has been poured out on us, Sister Brothers, and this curse has overtaken us, and there's nothing we can do about this curse, Sister Brothers.
Wow.
And it's throughout all your generations. So even our sons and daughters are being affected by this same curse.
Right, and there was an example. We used to have a bank when the slaves were so-called freed by Abraham Lincoln. They got together and they put together what's called the Freedmen's Bank here in Washington, D.C.
Yes, I remember that.
And the Freedmen's Bank had since failed because we were no longer the ones that were conducting and issuing loans. And even when we tried to do that and this curse overtook us, you didn't have any money with your face on it. It's always been the face of the Gentiles or Caesar.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Brother Jared, when you go to a dominantly Israelite country, let's say Jamaica, predominantly inhabited by Israel, even the currency there has a face on it that does not look like them.
Right, because they were and many times let's say like a British protectorate or under auspice of another Gentile dynasty or nation. But then even if they had a successful revolution like you saw in Haiti, where those brothers that went there by ships also, you see where they can't even stand tall on their own because those curses are overtaking them.
The curses are overtaking them, Jews.
Here for a better life, and we're among the Gentiles.
That's right.
So again, even in this curse, just the fact that we're among this Gentile and not among the Hamites is still somewhat of a benefit because there's some areas that's even worse than this.
That's right, brother. It's a lot of areas. Look at the philosophy.
Right. We want to bring in Brother Jared, with some history.
We about to get there now, Julius. Okay. We about to get there now. So Julius, read verse 64.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shall thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. Lord knows, I live in Chicago and I see it. I work in a hospital and I see it.
I see it.
Man, and thy life shall hang in the doubt before thee, Will, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life.
Have none assurance of that life, Julius. Let's go to and see if these curses happen, Julius. Let's go to Daniel 9th chapter and let's read 2 verses. Daniel 9th chapter, Julius, and we're gonna bring Jared gonna take over in Psalm 83. Whew. Daniel 9 and 9.
Sisters and brothers, forgive our passion, but when you look at what's written and see how low we fell, and we talk about all this pride that's going on, I'm ashamed.
Right. I'm ashamed
I'm
too,
not scared to say it. I'm ashamed, Brother Jared.
That's right. Daniel 9 and 9, Julius. Daniel 9 and 9.
To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him.
That's right.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. All Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us.
The curse is poured upon us. Go ahead, Julius.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
Against him, Julius, against him. And now we've been removed from our land, Julius. But let's see who's always been among us, Jared. Let's see who's always been among us. Let's go to Psalms 83rd chapter.
Man.
We're no longer in our land, Julius.
I'm gonna read Daniel 9:13, Will. It says, as it is written in the law of Moses.
That's right.
People ask me, why all this drama in the world? I said right here, as it is written in the law of Moses, all this evil is come upon us, yet may we not our prayer before the Lord our God, that we might turn from our iniquities and understand thy truth.
That's right, Julius. And that's the reason.
Will, listen. Therefore has the Lord watched. The Lord, sisters and brothers, has watched upon the evil and brought it upon us. We mad at the white man, we mad at the Mexican, we mad at everybody, instead of taking responsibility for ourselves. For the Lord our God is righteous in all his works which he doeth, for we obey not his voice.
That's right. The Lord told us that in Deuteronomy 28 chapter. He said, hey, because you wouldn't hearken diligently to my voice and to my laws and statutes, all these hairs was going to be against thy neck, brother. And these people was to be confederate against you. All these different nations going to come against you. To be plucked off until you be overtaken, Julius. To be removed off your land, sisters and brothers. Let's go to Psalm 83, Jared. Psalm 83. That you can bring us some history on this.
Yes, sir. Psalm
83. Let's pick it up in verse 1, Julius. Psalm 83.
Keep not thou silence, O God.
That's right.
Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Mm-hmm.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden one.
Against thy hidden one, since was hidden ones of the children of Israel. Go ahead. That's Israel. Go ahead.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So they said, let us cut them off from being a nation. The name of Israel be no more remembrance, right, Julius?
Yes,
and the Lord told us that we was going to lose our identity. Did he tell us that?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. That's all in Deuteronomy 28 chapter. Go ahead, brother.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
That's right.
The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites.
The tabernacles of Edom and Ishmaelites, right?
Yes, sir.
And they always been, they tell us that Ishmael always been among us and Esau, right?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Jebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of the Tyre. Asher also is joined with them.
They have also joined with them, Julius, right? Verse 12. Go ahead. What did they say, Julius? Verse 12.
Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession.
So he said the house of God in possession, which is the land of Israel, right?
Yep.
He said, let us take ourselves the house of God in possession, right?
But what are the houses of God? The house of Israel and the house of Judah.
The house of Judah, that's right, the land of Israel. That's right, Jay, you got some history on this? How Esau has always been among us?
Yeah, Esau has always been among us. What I need to do is I need to help walk down just the terminology for Edom. Because a lot of times when you're coming out of the Roman Christian church, which I have no problem with the word Christian, I'm just saying that you have to understand who this is speaking about, which is I'm glad you walked down that history. Now, I'm going to walk this down first real quick. I'm grabbing from the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is from the early 60s. All right. It says Edom refers very...
We'll unmute your mic. There you go.
I'm here. Go ahead.
Okay. It says Edom refers variously to a land. Now, but we read the book, how we know this, we are talking about a people specifically, equated at times with Seir, that's Mount Seir.
Right.
A person identified with Esau and a people. So we understand that this is talking about a nation of people. Remember, we don't deal with racism because racism was something that was created down after the Renaissance period. The Bible doesn't deal with races, it deals with families and nationalities. That's all we're walking down.
Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
One more time. We do not deal with racism because the term and classification of the races was came by Johann Blumenbach, which is a Gentile that was trying to understand where people come from. But the Bible deals with families and nationalities. That's it. So we're walking down a family lineage to understand who's who and to understand where the mix-up is. Now, it also says throughout most of their history, Edom and Judah were engaged in war with each other, primarily to determine which was to control the Araba rift that stretched between them. That was a great importance because the trade route was followed its length, especially because of its copper and iron deposits. Long before the outbreak of the Judeo-Edomite hostilities, the copper and iron in Araba were mined by the Kenites and then by the Edomites. David defeated Edom and enslaved many other Edomites. Solomon was able to capitalize on David's gain and organize the copper mining industry on a large scale. He probably compelled many Edomites to work for him in the copper mines in Araba when the tables were reversed.
What?
Because remember, you read the other blessing.
That's right. The curse and the blessing. That's right.
Put up on Esau.
That's right.
Even in the history books, the secular history books, it says when the tables were reversed, the Edomites probably did the same with Judean prisoners. Wow. They are known to have engaged in the slave trade. And whenever opportunity offered, took slaves from Judah. A Bible reference is 2 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 17.
That's right.
And
Write that down.
I'm going to read it real quick. It says, "For again, the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives." That's right. So I'm just walking down a little bit of history so you can understand these people that were neighbors with what they called the Judeo-Edomite Wars or hostilities. Many of the Edomites pushed out of, now we're going to walk a little bit of this down a little bit later. Many of the Edomites pushed out of their former territory. They were in Mount Seir. Yeah, capital was called Bozrah, but they were pushed out of their hometown.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Right. They were pushed out by the Nabateans. That's what we call modern day Arabs, or what Brother Will walked down in Genesis 16. That was speaking about Ishmaelites. Mm-hmm. So they were pushed out by the Nabateans, drifted westward across Araba, and established themselves. The Edomites established themselves in southernmost Judah. Mm-hmm. There, during the Hellenistic period, this is talking about during the Greek period, the Hellenistic period, they became known as Idumeans. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you see the word Idumea, that is referring to the Greek way of saying Edom.
Edom, that's right.
That's all that's speaking about. I'm going to hit one more spot on here. But we're going to walk down this a little bit later. It says that they reference that in the Bible that you shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother, meaning those Idumeans who had been Judaized had become worshipers of Yahweh. But we understand that they were already blood brothers back from the womb of Rebekah.
Right.
That's right.
So this really wasn't dealing with just the conversion, because back when that was written, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, he didn't have to wait until the days of Herod to when the conversion was taking place in Judah Maccabees.
Right.
So I'm just showing how, hey, we could walk down Edom in the history books. Now,
that's right.
I'm going to walk down a little bit of Bozrah, because a lot of people, this is referenced in the scriptures, but a lot of people don't know what this is. Bozrah, a stronghold in northern Edom, important between 1200 and 600 BC. Yep.
What book is that coming out of?
Thank you. This is the same encyclopedia. We're just going from Bozrah, Encyclopedia Britannica, and we're just going to the other letter dealing with B for Bozrah. This is Encyclopedia Britannica. from 1966, and if anyone's curious. 1966 Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
It says, often identified as Al-Buzariah, a village lying some 3,000 feet above the Dead Sea on the Edomite Plateau, halfway between the Dead Sea and the ruined town of Petra. If you see Petra, modern day, we say that's in Jordan, but that is actually Edom's land. It says in southern Jordan. While it achieved its greatest fame as the site of a key Roman fortress east of the Jordan River, Bozrah was a city of the Nabateans. Well, hold on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I thought so. So this capital was known as a capital of Edom, but it became a capital city or a stronghold for the Arabs or the Nabateans after they pushed Edom out of Edom's land and pushed them in the southern Negev or the southern border of Judah.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're seeing where they were pushed from one location to another location,
now,
and they were even closer. So when
Jerry, what we do want to explain to people that they were pushed before 70 AD.
Exactly.
Before Israel was taken out, they was already in southern Judea.
Yes,
that's right. We want to put that together. Yes,
right. This history happens even before Christ comes in the flesh.
That's right.
This happened way before Christ even came in the flesh. So
we just want to give people geographical outlay of where they was at already. They was in southern Judea. Go ahead.
Right. Now I'm going to walk down. This book is called The Sarcophagus of an Ancient Civilization.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The Sarcophagus of an Ancient Civilization by George Livingston Robinson. And they focus extreme history on dealing with the history of the Edomites. This is page 365. The history of the Idumeans, which we understand is Edom, right? It says, now this right here is capturing after what Brother Will read in Daniel chapter 9. That happened after Judah was taken down and Zedekiah was taken down by Nebuchadnezzar. Right. So it says here, shortly after Jerusalem's fall and Judah's exile to Babylon in 586 BC, the Edomites migrated for some reason from their particular home in Mount Seir to southern Judah and the adjacent portion of the Negev. So they weren't taken into captivity from Mount Seir to southern Judah. They migrated because they were being assaulted from another group of people, which were Arabs or the Nabateans.
Right.
And when I went, and just a case in point, when I went over to the Edom's land in Jordan today, it's mostly barren and desert. You do still see some people there, but they are Arabs that are there today.
That's right. That's right.
The Arabs are still in place in Edom's land today. So I'm going to continue walking this down. It says it was the Greeks who gave the Edomites their new name and spoke of their new home in southern Judah as Idumea. And their migration was apparently due. Now, you see, I love how we got the migration. We're getting the reasoning behind it. Apparently due to the movement of the desert Arabs known as Nabateans, who suddenly emerged out of the wilds of Central Arabia. For a long time, they threatened Edomite territory, pushing steadily near and near in the direction of Mount Seir, until sometime during the 6th century BC, they succeeded in expelling the sons of Esau from their mountain fatnesses and took possession of the rock city Petra. The history of the Nabateans form a chapter by itself, but here it is must be observed that the migration of the Edomites from Mount Seir to southern Judah cannot be disassociated from the invasion of the Nabateans who drove them from their old home.
Wow.
That's right. That's right. And the Lord said that was going to happen, Brother Jerry.
Walk it down.
Walk it down.
So
brother.
that is history. But remember, because the Lord still deals with nations of people.
That's right.
So in order for Psalms 83 to come to pass for a nation of people that's been breaking the commandments, He's moving them and putting them in position to turn around and fulfill Psalms 83.
That's
now, when you read Psalms 83, you pulled both Edom and you pulled also the Ishmaelites of Moab.
That's
and,
right.
And of the Hagarenes. Well,
right.
See, remember, Hagar doesn't have a seed. It's still Abraham that has the seeds, but it was noted that these people come from Hagar and not from Sarai or Sarah. That's why they're being called the Hagarenes.
There you go.
That's right. There you go.
Break it down.
Now we understand that these people have wanted to aspire to obtain the houses of God. But from right now, I'm going to show one last part showing the conversion of those people, because they ended up weakening southern Judah by always letting the enemies of Judah come through their territory to assault them. So they said, but in the days of Judah Maccabee, that they are going to convert these people.
Yes.
So remember the term converts, because this will lead you up to the days when Jesus enters the scene. This is the last spot. This is page 370.
Mm-hmm.
It says, during the centuries of their occupation of Judah, the Jews regarded them, meaning the Edomites, with suspicion. Their unbrotherly treatment of them on the occasion of Jerusalem's downfall in 586 BC was never forgotten.
Wow.
In 164 BC, these are dates, 164 BC, Judah Maccabees fought them with triumphant success. Less than 50 years thereafter, John Hyrcanus completely conquered them, not only wresting from them two of their most powerful strongholds, Adora and Marsha, and placing them under a Jewish governor. This right here is an actual Israelite governor, but compelling them also to submit to circumcision and the Jewish law.
Right.
These concessions, in the opinion of Josephus, made them proselytes of justice and truly Jewish.
Wow.
So they were converted. They had to get down with circumcision, and they had to keep the law. But this then it says that because the stage is set here. Remember, the Greek period was to one period. The Roman period followed that shortly thereafter. The coming of the Romans into Palestine during the 1st century BC greatly changed the complexion of the country. And in 37 BC, the Roman Senate appointed Herod as king of the Jews. It says now Herod is a Idumean. His father was an Idumean or an Edomite.
That's what
makes him an Edomite.
Converted. Mm-hmm.
But it says that this was the beginning of the Herodian dynasty.
Wow.
That's right. So King Herod was not a Jew. He was converted.
Right. And we can read that out of great people of the Bible, give that reference. But this right here helps set the stage for when Jesus comes in the flesh. This is who tries to kill him.
Yes.
This is the one in Mark chapter 3 where you had those that were following and spying him. Go read Mark chapter 3 on your own, and you'll see the Edomites and the Herodians. These are Edomite converts. They converted. They're not original. That's GMO. Made up.
Right. That's right. That's right, brother. Teach.
All right. I'm going to toss it back to you, Will.
So since we almost out of here, so let's go to Joel, the 3rd chapter, because Deuteronomy 28 chapter speak on this. Sisters and brothers, how we was going to be scattered among other nations. We're going to be sold as male and female slaves. We're going to get back to history, Brother Jared, in one more second. We're going to be sold as male and female slaves, bond men and bond women, sisters and brothers. Joel, the 3rd chapter, picking up verse 1, Julius, and let's see what happened here.
For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there.
He said he's going to plead with them. He's going to kill, Julius. He's going to kill. And the valley of Jehoshaphat is the valley of Megiddo. Judgment, go ahead, brother.
And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel.
Why? Because they did what? What they do to Israel, Julius?
Whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
And they parted his land, right? So they parted it. Go ahead. We're going to read this. And we're going to see what happened to that land. When they parted it, let's go see. Julius, keep going.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink.
And then the Lord said that was going to take place in Deuteronomy 20th chapter if we don't hearken diligently to his laws, commandments, and statutes.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. And what have I to do with me? And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And
hey, are you going to recompense me? Are you going to repay me? Go ahead.
Swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
That's right.
Because you have taken my gold and my silver and my gold and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
Didn't they take the Lord's goodly vessels?
Yes,
go ahead. That's right.
Listen, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border.
Far from their border, sisters and brothers. We know Judah, Benjamin, Levi were sent among the Gentiles, sisters and brothers. And other 9 tribes were scattered among the Hamites and among the Africans and the Ishmaelites, the Arabs, and among the Africans, the Hamites, sisters and brothers. Go ahead.
Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, the Arabs, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it.
The Lord has spoken this, sisters and brothers, but Jesus knew that this was going to take place. Let's go to Matthew 24, chapter verse 1, Jews. We almost out of here. We're going to do a little bit more history. We got 2 hours, so we got 9:30. We're going to get it out of here.
And now that's why Brother Jared mentioned the Hellenistic, because that was under Greek rule or Greek culture. So that's what Alexander the Great wanted to do, sisters and brothers. He wanted to Hellenize the whole world and bring good Greek culture to the whole world. That's why they were called the Grecians. But then you had Israel, who was already scattered down there.
That's right.
Matthew 24, Will.
Yeah, we're gonna read verse 1 through 5, Julie. 1 through 5.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple.
Yeah, that's right. What you say?
See, ye not all these things? Verily I say to you, there shall not be one left here, one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down.
And that happened, Julius.
70 AD.
It happened when they seized Jerusalem, 70 AD. They burnt the temple to the ground. Go ahead. They destroyed it. Go ahead, Julius.
And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?
And of the end of the world. And what did he tell them, Julius? The thing that's going on right now.
And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you.
That's right.
Many shall come in my name, saying I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
And that's going on right now, Julius. Let's go over to Luke, the 19th chapter, when Jesus wept over Jerusalem. Because he knew these things were going to come to pass, Julius.
Yep.
He knew he was going to be removed out of our land. And the temple was going to be destroyed.
Which is interesting.
That's why the book is the boss. The book is the boss, and the book will clear up everything. It's going to cut, because the truth is going to cut a lie.
That's right. That's right, Julius.
And which is also interesting, because you have him speaking about a temple being taken down, but then he also at verse 15 makes reference to the abomination standing in a holy place.
Holy place. That's right.
So that means someone has to build some other holy place.
Yeah, that's another lesson. Another temple got to be built. That's right.
Who steps in to fulfill that? That's the question.
Woo. That's right. That's right. Teach, brother. But that's a whole other lesson we're going to talk about. We can do part 2. 40 verse, Julius. Luke 19, verse 41. Luke 19, verse 41, Julius.
And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, talking about Jerusalem, saying, if thou had known, even thou, at least in this thy day,
that's right,
belong unto thy peace.
That's right.
Now they are hid from thine eyes.
Because we didn't keep the law, statutes, commandments. Go ahead.
For the day shall come upon thee that thy enemies shall cast a trench about thee, and compass thee round, and keep thee in on every side. And
that took place, Julius. Go ahead, keep going.
And shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee. And they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of thy visitation.
That's right. That's verse 44. Let's, Jared, do you got that history on the destruction of Jerusalem? Alice in the Bible, page 201.
Yes, we do.
Can you read that for me, brother? Because the Lord called that. Jesus called that, Julius. He said they're going to dig a trench and they're going to leave. They were going to dig a trench around you.
Yep. So this is right here, the Atlas of the Bible. This is page 201 under the section, The Revolts Against Rome. It says in 68, and we're just reading, certain portions of it. In 68, the Roman commander launched a methodical campaign to isolate Jerusalem. The overthrow and the suicide of the Emperor Nero brought operations in Judea to a temporary halt as Vespasian prudently withdrew to test the imperial winds. Eventually, he himself was declared emperor, sailing for the Rome in the spring of 70.
Yes. He
left his capable son, Titus, in charge of the campaign against Jerusalem. The walls enclosing the temple and the upper lower cities were the most formidable barrier of all. Postponing an all-out assault, Titus turned to starvation tactics. A certain amount of food had been smuggled into the city almost nightly during the siege. But now the Romans sealed off Jerusalem completely with a wall of their own made of earth and some 5 miles in circumference.
That's right.
From the outset of the siege, those attempting to get through the encircling lines had been caught and crucified. Sometimes the daily executions reached 500. The crosses were never bare. Inside the city, starvation and disease claimed a mounting toll. Bodies filled the streets and were stacked in houses. Thousands of corpses were thrown from the walls into the valley below. Last spot, the surviving rebels made a last-ditch stand within Herod's palace. The battering rams resumed their rhythmic work. When the legionnaires at last broke into the refuge, they only found dead corpses. Herod's palace was the rest of the upper city were put to the torch. Jerusalem was a city of the dead. That last part dealing with Herod, though, and the Herod's palace, that was a different group of people. I just want to make that distinction because that happened in 73, not the original 70 that we just got done reading.
So, Brother Jared, when they can go your own time and read Luke the 21st chapter, verse 20. Jesus told you that's going to happen. He said, when you see the city being compassed by armies, he told you to flee into the mountains, sisters and brothers, and don't return back to the city.
Right.
Because he knew these things. He gave them a warning, sisters and brothers. They didn't take heed of the warning, sisters and brothers, and the city was left to the dead, and Israel was taken into captivity. And let's see what happened when Israel was taken into captivity. Let's see who moved into our land. Let's go to Obadiah, the 1st chapter.
We have one more spot to read, one more source.
Read that. Let's go.
Who assisted the Romans, like the Bible tells us, was acting just like one of the Romans to take down this city to help promote or facilitate the captivity. So we're going to the last reference in the sarcophagus of an ancient civilization. This is page 372 through 373. Listen very carefully. It says, henceforth the Idumeans were reckoned as Jews, and their land was counted as one of the 11 tetrarchies of Judea. But the union between them and the Jews proved of little blessing. Rather, they became an element of weakness to the Jews, and in the moment of need, they treacherously betrayed them to Rome.
Wow.
By the nature, they were cruel and barbarous, fierce and turbulent. At the time, the Romans under Titus besieged Jerusalem in 70 AD.
That's
right, same time frame. The Idumeans, along with the Zealot party, early joined in the rebellion against the foe.
They joined in. Wow.
Right. 20,000 Idumeans were allowed access to the holy city, only to fill the city with robbery and bloodshed. They spared nobody. The outer temple was completely covered with blood. 8,500 perished there in one day. But the rage of the Idumeans was not confounded to the temple precincts. They betook themselves to the city and plundered every house and slew everyone they met.
What?
Most ruthlessly, they massacred the priests, even standing with their coarse feet upon their bodies to defile them and casting them forth without respectful burial. Even Ananus, the high priest, fell victim to their savage rage.
Wow.
He was a just and venerable man, Josephus tells us, noble and dignified, lover of liberty and democracy. But those who escaped the immediate death, there were scourged and tortured until they died. Those whom they caught in the daytime were slain in the night, and their bodies were carried out and thrown away, that there might be room for other prisoners.
Whoa.
And the terror that was upon them, the people was so great that no one had the courage enough either to weep openly for the dead man that was related to him or to bury him. Those who were shut up in their own houses could only shed tears in secret, lest any of their enemies should hear them. For if they did, those that mourned for others soon underwent the same death as those for whom they mourned. Last spot. With the tragic fall of Jerusalem, the Idumeans, as a nation, pass off the stage of history and disappear entirely from human sight.
Entirely because, sisters and brothers, they moved on up from Idumea, southern Judea, and they moved right on up into our city, Jerusalem. Right. And they posed themselves off to be the Jews. Not the Israelites, but the Jews, brother. Not the Israelites,
right?
But the Jews. So those that did escape, they got delivered up, right, Brother Julius?
Jesus said, sisters and brothers, a scripture that Jesus said, a statement that he made in scripture. He said, "Under heaven have not that been done, which has been done unto Jerusalem." That's right.
That's right. Jude, we got two more spots, brother.
Think about it, Will. Think about it, Will. If somebody heard you crying over your butchered loved one, and Edom heard you, they would go and get you and kill you.
They were going to deliver you up. That's right, brother.
Eric, so, I read that they were forced not to cry.
That's right. Wow. That's right.
Come on, Will.
Obadiah, the first chapter. So we just read that they were delivering those up who tried to escape, right, brother Jared? Let's see what the Lord said concerning Edom. Let's Obadiah, the first chapter, verse 1 and 2. We're going to skip, and we got one more after this, Julius, and we're going to close out. Because we can't teach everything in one night.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus said the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold,
that's right. What he said.
I have made thee small among the heathen or the nations. Thou art greatly despised.
Verse 3. We got to read verse 3, brother.
The pride of thine heart has deceived thee. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, Petra.
That's right.
Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
Because of their pride, sisters and brothers. Skip on down to verse 7, Julie. Let's see what happened with Edom.
All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
That's right.
The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee.
Have deceived you. Go ahead.
And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
That's right. Go ahead.
Shall I not in that day, said the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?
Because of what? What's the reason he going to want to destroy them, Julius? Why? Keep going.
And understanding out of the mount of Esau, all thy mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
For what?
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee.
See, the Lord told you, he said, I was a little displeased with these people, Julius. I was a little displeased with these people, but you furthered the affliction.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Julius.
In the day that thou stoodest up on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them.
And Jim just read that when the Roman soldiers came through the gates, They came right in with them. They moved up out of Idumea and they southern Judea.
20,000.
And they moved right in and blended right in, confederate with the armies. And what did they do?
Verse 12. But thou should not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger.
That's right.
Neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, thou should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
They held on all our pictures, all our substance, everything that identified us as a people. They took those things because they had a plan, Julius.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Because, hey, if I got a picture of Moses, Aaron, and all those people, and they don't look like me, I can't pawn that off me as being these people.
Well, my question is, how do you have pictures of Hammurabi? You have
That's
pictures,
right.
You have pictures of
Tutankhamun.
You got statues of Baal and Nebo, but where are the pictures of my people?
They got pictures of Nimrod, statues of Nimrod.
And
you got pictures of Nebuchadnezzar.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, brother.
Well, hey, Julius, and we can tell that some of the Israelites in Jesus' day knew what some of the ancient Israelites looked like, because during the Transfiguration, a couple of the apostles knows, they said, "Hey, it's Moses and Elijah."
Yeah,
that's right.
So we obviously had pictures or some type of imagery of our ancestors at that time.
Yes, sir.
That's right, Judy. So they moved on into the gates of Jerusalem, and they moved on up out of their land, Julius. They delivered up all the people that escaped, all the people that were getting away, and they delivered. Hey, here they go. They took all our documents and everything. But let me show you what they did, Judy. Let me read this little history piece. What this history piece says, and we got one more scripture after this. We out of here. It's called "The Destruction of Jerusalem World Atlas." It said, let me see what it's. Let me go on down here. Because this is
Obadiah on your own, sisters, brothers. Read Obadiah, the first chapter, on your own, because the Lord got a controversy with these people. Go ahead.
It said King Cyrus of Persia in 538 BCE invited Jews from Babylon to rebuild the temple of Jerusalem. The second temple was accomplished in 516 BCE when King Cyrus the Great was in power. 70 years after the first temple was destroyed. However, in 70 BC, Jerusalem was destroyed one more time by the Romans led by Tyrus, the future emperor of Rome, under the order of Emperor Nero. The Roman soldiers surrounded the city and began ransacking the city, and finally led the destruction of the temple. It's estimated about 1.1 million people died, and the majority, we know all of the Jews, the majority were Jews. Those who escaped death were taken as slaves into different parts of Roman Empire. All relics from the temple were taken to Rome, where they were displayed and are still on display, Julius, it says.
Wow.
So all our artifacts was taken, and all the artifacts was delivered up by Esau and given to the Romans. Take these artifacts, lay hold on all this stuff, take it. Julius, let's go to Revelation 3 and 8.
And also, you can see in the Arch of Constantine in Rome today, there's a relic representing the Roman empires leaving Jerusalem with the 7-branch menorah and the artifacts and the table of showbread right out of the temple.
That's right.
After this, I got one little article to read.
Yeah, that's it, brother. That's right. Romans 3 and 8. What did the Lord say here, though? Romans 3 and 8.
Revelation 3.
Revelation 3 and 8. I'm sorry, Revelation 3 and 8. What did the Lord say here in Revelation?
Man.
Because he knew some people were going to move in, and he know these people are not us.
I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and has not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold,
they do lie, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee.
That I have loved you. The Lord said he hated Esau, but he loved Jacob, right?
Yeah.
That he tells you that in Jeremiah 49 chapter. He said, I hate it. He talks about love Jacob, but Julius. How many of us walk around claiming to be the Jews? How many people do you see walking through your community that claim to be the Jews?
No
so
doubt.
we know that he's addressing it to certain people that claim that they are Jews, but they are not, but of the synagogue of Satan system.
Yeah.
So I just want to pinpoint that out, Julius, because we say we Israel. We don't claim to be the Jews, right?
Right.
We know it's 12 tribes of Israel. Yeah. But these certain people only claim to be from the tribe of Judah. What about the other 11 tribes?
Well, actually, let me add one extra little piece in. They claim to the term Jew, but then they want to build a temple. But if you're going to build a temple and do operation and temple work, you need to be from the tribe of Levi.
That's right.
So people should ask sharp questions when they build a temple. Where are the Levites? Or are they claiming that there are now two tribes instead of just one tribe being the Jews or Judah?
That's right.
Wow. Revelation 2 and 9, Will. Revelation 2 and 9. It reads, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan.
Julius, what's the piece you had you want to read?
This piece I have, sisters and brothers, in closing is, and we thank you all for staying overtime with us tonight. Subscribe, like, share, and post. Watch it again. This right here, we have at the Israel of God, and all the Israel of God, we have this article right here that's called The Lost Tribes of Israel. Who are they? Where are they? How can they be identified? The second paragraph states, Brother Jared, it says, after the Israelites were removed from the land of Israel, it was left an empty house with no inhabitants. Now, if one can understand that any land which has been emptied of its rightful owners can be claimed by any nationality of people that have power or permission to settle in and possess it, then it should also be easy to understand that the nationality of people which move in and take over the land can assume or adopt the culture, history, and even call themselves by the name of the people that they have replaced. After a long period of years, the nationality would be accepted by the rest of the world, as it is today, as being the original and rightful inhabitants of the land. That's why I thank God of Israel that we got the word of God to say,
that's right.
I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not. Like Brother Will read and showed, you got to fit these curses.
You got to fit these curses.
And you got to fit the curses 2:18.
That's right.
All of it.
That's right.
This would especially be true if the original people of the land had been removed by force and carried off as slaves. Such is the case of the real Israelites and the real Jews. It is very easy to become lost when someone else is called by your name and is living in your land, while you have been carted off into slavery and are called by the name of the people of whatever nation you are found. Hence the word African American.
That's right.
The only nation of people, Brother Jared, that's named after two continents. You will not hear an African call himself an African American.
That's those proverbs.
Kenya, Nairobi, and Egypt, Ethiopia. But we, as a nation, are called by two continents. Man.
You know what I say that is, Julius? I said we are the only group of people that's named after a journey, not a location.
That's right.
Listen to this in closing. After being in slavery for a long period of years and throughout generations, it would be impossible for your children to remember their history. How can they remember what they were never taught? Easy. It is.
That's right.
The history
book. Lord said in the last days, the pour out of spirit on this
prophecy. Peter said, we have a more sure word of prophecy that you would do wise
to take heed.
To take heed.
That's right.
Brother Jared, you made a wonderful statement. And Brother Will, the Lord does not deal with racism.
That's right.
He deals with peoples, nations, and tongues.
That's right.
So the motto of the Israel of God is if you can't read it,
don't believe it. That's right.
Excellent, brothers. I think the people are calling for a part 2, part 3.
Yeah, it's a lot of good comments on here.
We just want to thank you, Pastor Johnson, for simulcasting this lesson. Brother Jared, any closing words?
The only one that I could think of is you set the stage by just walking down history. We have no hate against any people whatsoever because the Lord is the one that called this upon us. And I have ran across several Edomites personally that we have had some incredible conversations. Guess what? We still have to teach them too.
Yes,
indeed.
So we're teaching them who the Messiah is. We're teaching them why they don't need to go looking for a red heifer. We're teaching them about the prophecy what's to come, hoping that, hey, someone will listen because he told us to go teach all nations, to tell them to observe whatsoever he commanded us. That's our job. Just be to all the sons of Adam. And that's it.
Thank you, my brother. Brother Will.
I just thank you guys for joining us, sisters and brothers, and staying overtime with us. My objective was to show you the different nations of people, sisters and brothers, so we could no longer continue to get them confused, saying that the Esau are Gentiles and that Israel are Gentiles, that they are not Jews, and mixing us up with Hamites, which are the African system. But we get mixed up a lot with that also, because all my friends on Facebook think that they come from Africa. And Brother Jared, they look at their complexion and say, "I'm African. I'm Afro-American," and we show them through the scriptures, through the curses, those proverbs and bywords, and those pet names they put on them, like Afro-American, through our journeys, like you say. And we thank you guys for joining us, sisters and brothers. I hope this reached somebody.
Thank you, Brother Will, and thank you, Brother Jared. And so, sisters and brothers, the Lord gave us a commission. That's why we know who we are, through scripture and through the curses, and especially through prophecy. Go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
That's right.
Somebody is going throughout the world and preaching. We will never forget the Holocaust. You understand? That's not the gospel.
It's not.
The gospel is the coming kingdom of the God of Israel. So that's what we do at the Israel of God. So go back and rewatch this lesson, share it, and post it, and subscribe, sisters and brothers, and join us next week on another I like to call it exciting adventure on the Balm of Gilead Bible Radio Show. We just ask the Lord to bless you and thank you for spending some of your Thursday with us. And we appreciate you and we love you. In the name of Jesus, may the Lord make his face to shine upon thee and give thee strength and keep his angels around you. And don't forget, we have a very active pandemic going on, sister.
Yeah, Jeremiah 8:20-22.
In Jesus' name, we love you. And again, thank you, Brother Will, for a wonderful lesson. Brother Jared, for wonderful history and study to show yourself approved under God. In Jesus' name, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah, Jeremiah 8:20-22. The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. For the hurt of the daughter of my people and my hurt, I am black. Astonishment have taken hold on me. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered? The balm of Gilead, give me the remedy. Father, correct my path. The balm of Gilead, you all that I ever need and all that I ever had. The balm of Gilead, gon' keep on healing me. Father, please have my back. The balm of Gilead, you all that we ever need and all that we ever had. There's drama in the streets and my people is dying. And I'm starting to lose sleep from all the grieving and crying. I don't trip cause I believe it's the kingdom is dying. And vision shall be yours, you don't ever be lying. Unlike the false prophet and the reverend be lying. Talk about we going to heaven, not the earth when we dying. Or how you coming back full of rage and violence. Opposition and these critics will forever be silent. While Satan in his henchman talks to the lake of fire. And you can't have anything your heart desire. Without no consequences, you know Satan a lie. Got you thinking we ain't gotta keep the laws of the Bible. And he didn't have a bomb, now we dead on arrival. With a reprobate mind and we can't survive. Unable to get the false doctrine from inside him. I ain't never met a zombie till I stood beside him. The Balm of Gilead, give me the remedy. Father, correct my path. The Balm of Gilead, you all that I ever needed.